Welcome back. Now, looking at Nigeria's diplomatic landscape, it's once again in the spotlight. President Tinubu has released a new ambassadorial list, a list which has sparked a lot of controversy, and concerns about the nominees in this list. So that brings us to discuss, President Tinubu's new ambassadorial list with Nick Agule, who is a global economic analyst. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. Mr. Agule, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Right, I can hear you. Now, looking at this list, in the past year, of course, Nigeria has operated without substantive ambassadors in many key countries, and now the president has appointed or nominated a couple of people in this list. So, looking at the timing, what are your thoughts on the timing of this new ambassadorial list?
Thank you very much for that question. It's very unfortunate that people come into governance in Nigeria and behave as if they came unprepared, because President Tinubu will be 3 years in office in May next year. So he's gone 2.5 years in office. And the president, when he took office in May 2023, if he was not ready to nominate his own ambassadors, then he should have left the ambassadors that were posted by his predecessor, President Buhari, to be in office until he was ready to nominate his own ambassadors. But he didn't do that. Instead, he recalled all the ambassadors that were posted out by President Buhari. And then he never appointed their replacements. Ordinarily, you expect that since President Buhari and President Tinubu are of the same party, that is the All Progressive Congress, the party is expected to have the same foreign policy, which these two leaders would have been following. So President Tinubu would have left these ambassadors to continue to champion the APC foreign policy. But he withdrew the ambassadors, never posted their replacements until we started to have diplomatic issues, notably with Donald Trump. And Donald Trump, I would say, is a blessing to Nigeria, because for so long, many things were taken for granted in Nigeria until he started to speak. Even though he said he was going to come and wipe out the bandits and terrorists that are killing Nigerians, even as he has not come, you can see that his threat has started to make Nigerian leaders to sit up. And one of those areas that they have sat up on now is the appointment, the nomination of ambassadors. The other one, of course, is security. You can see that for the first time since President Tinubu took office 2.5 years ago, he is now taking very active interest in the security of Nigeria. He changed service chiefs. He has now changed the Minister of Defense. He is now saying, look, let us allow state police to happen. You will see that he's meeting with service chiefs. This is what was expected of him from day one when he entered office. But he didn't do it, basically like taking Nigerians for granted, appearing in office without looking as if he was clueless or overwhelmed with what was happening. But Donald Trump has become like that steroid that has been injected into the president. And he's now taking those steps that will actually secure Nigeria, including the appointment of ambassadors. So perhaps we just need to be thanking Donald Trump for this.
presence, we realize that this some of these nominees have the non-career nominees. Is the heavy presence of non-career nominees a sign of political compensation rather than diplomatic merit?
First and foremost, for the benefit of our viewers who may not know the difference between what is being said to be career ambassadors and non-career ambassadors. So, career ambassadors, it is their own career. That is their work. These people work for the federal government. They are civil servants. When they join the civil service as fresh graduates, they join the civil service in the Federal Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So all their life working, they've been working in diplomatic circles. Some of them have already been sent to work at our embassies and high commissions abroad. Because remember that an ambassador does not work alone. If you go, the ambassador is working with a team of staff. So some of these um, career ambassadors, they have been going abroad to work in our missions abroad as staff from the lower level until they grow up and become directors in the civil service. And so when they become directors in the civil service, they are now eligible to be appointed as ambassadors. That's why you call them career ambassadors, because this is the normal career progression for them in the civil service where they work. The non-career ambassadors are people who are not federal government civil servants, who may never have worked in the diplomatic circles, who may never have an experience on the international scene, but which the president appoints to send to our foreign missions as ambassadors. So it is in the right of the president to appoint them to become ambassadors, because the constitution does not limit the president's hands to appoint only the career diplomats. He can also appoint people who are not career diplomats. The problem, however, is that in the list that has been released of 32 nominees, 17 of them are non-career ambassadors designate, while 15 of them are career. And, and to me, that is lopsided, because we are expected to send more career ambassadors to foreign missions than the non-career, because the career ambassadors, this is what they have prepared for. They have used their entire time in the civil service to prepare to represent Nigeria as ambassadors. And there are many of them who are eligible, who are waiting to be appointed. And it would have been expected that the president will appoint those who are eligible in the civil service waiting to be appointed. So the list could have comprised of, probably out of 32, we could probably have had like 25 career ambassadors, and then maybe like 7 non-career ambassadors, just to have the president inject fresh blood into that. So that is the way this appointment has happened. So for me, there is a big issue with the composition of the nominees. To say that we have too many non-career ambassadors, in fact, the majority being non-career ambassadors. Like you said, it could be that the president is trying to compensate political allies and things like that. And if you take a cursory look on the list, you will see that the president was not actually going after competent Nigerians, possibly those who have managed businesses or have managed companies that have international relationships, where you can say that they can leverage on their experience to represent Nigeria adequately. The president has appointed rabble rousers like Reno Omokri, has appointed wives of former governors, have appointed the INEC, the immediate past INEC chairman, the man that gave him election in 2023. For me, that list, it just shows that it's all about political patronage. And I think it's sad that the president will prioritize political patronage over competence to represent Nigeria in foreign missions, especially now that we're having all sorts of issues.
Now, Now, speaking on the composition of the nominees that you've mentioned, let's look at the controversies that are surrounding some of these nominees also. What do you think about these controversies surrounding some particular nominees and their ability to perform as ambassadorial nominees in diplomatic circles? Do you think those controversies are valid and those concerns are valid?
The controversies and concerns are legitimate, very valid in my own estimation. There are three of the nominees that everyone is speaking about, which I will talk about. And the first is Mr. Reno Omokri. Mr. Reno Omokri, up up to when he was appointed as he was not even appointed when he met with President Tinubu, he was attacking the president when the president was a candidate for the presidential elections in 2023. Mr. Omokri took to his social media handles to say that the president is a drug baron, it's a drug dealer, that the president should submit his urine for analysis so that Nigeria can see that the president is consuming drugs. You know, Mr. Omokri said the president has forged his certificate and that he went personally to the university where the president said he graduated and found out that the president did not graduate and all of that. For me, that is the kind of man that we should not send to represent Nigeria abroad. President Tinubu can have his own agenda, and the agenda as clearly can be seen based on what has been happening in the political circles in Nigeria is that he wants a one-party state and he wants a one-voice nation. So whoever is an opposition voice, regardless of whatever you have said against him, he is happy to trade a position that has been granted to him by Nigeria in return for that person coming into his camp. And that's how he has got the likes of Daniel Bola and the Reno Mokri on his side. Even these are people who insulted him, but he doesn't really care about the insult. All he cares is that he wants everybody to support him. So even if you said he was a drug dealer, he's happy to take that. But so long as you are part of his team, and it's only one voice we have in Nigeria. But at the international stage, you cannot look at someone like Reno Mokri and say that this is the kind of person that should represent Nigeria. What's he representing? Is he representing the fact that our president is a drug dealer? Is he representing the fact that our president is a certificate forger? Because let's not forget, any country that they will send Reno Omokri to, the country is already aware that this man had called the president of Nigeria a drug dealer before. They are fully aware also that this man had said the president of Nigeria is a certificate forger. And for that president to even send that man to represent him in that country calls to question the integrity of that president, and the image of Nigeria will be battered. So that is Reno Omokri. The other rabble rouser is Femi Fani-Kayode. That is a man who was caught on TV, on camera, bullying and actually aggravating. In fact, you know, the thing is that what Femi Fani-Kayode said to that journalist, if he was here in the UK where I am now, he will be in jail. He will be in jail because he used threatening language in public against this journalist who was doing his job. A journalist that asked a very valid question: who is sponsoring your trips around the country? And the only answer he could have given was, nobody is sponsoring me. I am sponsoring myself. That would have been the answer to clear the question that the journalist asked him. And this man went into a tirade. You know, the anger the vitriol, the character of a man like that, to say he's going to go and represent Nigeria. For me, he's not representing me. For me, Reno Omokri and someone like Femi Fani-Kayode are not representing me. They can represent President Tinubu. I am not in the same capacity with President Tinubu because as a Nigerian, I have the right to agree that these are my representatives or not. Then coming to the former INEC chairman, you see, when the presidential election held in 2023, 3 elections held on one day. There was election into the House of Representatives, election into the Senate, and election for the president. Now, the 2 elections to the National Assembly, House of Rep and Senate, there were no issue with the server. But when it came to the election of the president, INEC said there was an issue with the server. As if it looks like there were 3 servers that they were using. So there were no issue with the other 2 servers. And it's only the server for the presidential election that had an issue. Whereas there was only 1 server. So if there is 1 server and INEC processed the election for the House of Rep and Senate correctly with no issue, how can that same server will not process the presidential election? So now the same man who presided over that has now been rewarded with an ambassadorial nomination. I mean, even a little child can put 2 and 2 and get 4 in that kind of situation.
Because of time, let's just take this last one. What impact will these appointments have on the image of Nigeria abroad and even in strategic countries as well? What's going to be the impact of this?
Very bad impact. It's going to be very, very bad that Nigeria, out of 200 million people that we have in Nigeria, these are the characters that President Tinubu will choose to go and represent us. It's going to be very, very bad. And let me say something. Though President Tinubu has nominated these people as diplomats, there are hurdles that we need to be crossed. The first hurdle, of course, is the Senate, where they must come before the Senate for screening. We call on the Senate of Nigeria. If they are true representatives of Nigerians, they should reject these candidates because we Nigerians have rejected them. The majority of Nigerians, no matter where you go, whether it's on social media, it's on traditional media, or anywhere, we are rejecting these characters that they cannot represent us because they are going to damage our image. Our image is already badly damaged. But to carry this kind of characters and go and add to this already badly damaged image is going to do a lot of bad to us. So that is the first hurdle. The second hurdle, of course, is that even if the Senate clears them, the countries they have been posted to must accept them.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Time is not on our side anymore. I will definitely have this conversation another day so you can buttress your points even better. Thank you for joining us this morning, Nick Agule.
Well, thank you and have a nice day.
All right, then our conversation was on the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's new ambassadorial list. And of course, Nick Agule, who is a global economic analyst, had a lot to say. And if you're just joining us, you can always watch that conversation on our YouTube channel. We will be back shortly.